Hello and welcome to a new vlog and video of the cruise vibes, and today we're gonna take a look at the second day on board of the Jane Austen. We're going to Amsterdam and leaving in the evening, continuing on to Rotterdam. Here on the map you can see our route today, and this video has been done in cooperation with ReiseJung, just like the other videos of the Jane Austen. Here we are approaching the city of Amsterdam, and we are docking at the Ruyterkade West, which is the most centrally located docking location in Amsterdam. And as you can see, it was a small fleet gathering of Skilla, 5 Skilla ships in port, very close to the main station, which is the beginning of the city center. In the morning we left our beautiful Jane Austen, which is usually sailing on the Seine in France, but was transferred to the Netherlands to go into the shipyard. And before going into the shipyard, the ship had 2 more sailings on the Rhine, one of them for ReiseJung. In the morning we went to the other side of the river I to visit This Is Holland. This Is Holland is a flight over the Netherlands, like a 5D cinema, and I can highly recommend visiting this. If you're in Amsterdam, this is my #1 recommendation on what to do in Amsterdam. I've done it multiple times and it is always fascinating and it's amazing, so I can highly recommend doing This Is Holland in Amsterdam. We then took the ferry back to the other side and walked back to the Jane Austen because it was time for lunch. For lunch you can get salad from a buffet and the other courses are served at the table. I had fish and chips and a healthy dessert before heading back out into the city center of Amsterdam for a bit of shopping, and it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get into the city center from this great docking location. As you can see, it's pretty crowded, but when it comes to Amsterdam, I would consider this as almost empty. If you walk down this street in summer, it is much more crowded. So whenever you are in Amsterdam, you can never expect to be there on your own. It is always quite crowded. Of course, now in December it's not as bad as in summer, but you have to be prepared to see a lot of people if you're visiting Amsterdam. I then walked back to the ship just for a few minutes because then it was time to pick up our group and guide them to our small boat, because we are now going on a very special boat tour through Amsterdam, because always in the winter season there's the Amsterdam Light Festival, which is a light art installation, so you will see a lot of artworks with nice lights all over the city. And there's a special course, and the best way to do this course is by boat, so we had this as an excursion. It's comparable to the Grachten boat tour, which is very famous for Amsterdam, but it is done when it's getting dark outside or it's already dark outside, so you can see those light installations. So it's a combination of art and a city tour, so that's quite nice, and it was a lot of fun, and I can highly recommend doing this if you're in Amsterdam around Christmas time. This was my favorite art installation. I really enjoyed going through this tunnel of light with the boat, but also the other installations are all very beautiful. Most of them can be seen best from a boat. Of course, you can also walk along the light installations, but most of them are best seen from a boat, so I would recommend doing a boat tour. Those boat tours are not quite cheap. Doesn't matter if you do it with your cruise company, if you're arriving by ship, or if you're doing them on your own. They're always quite expensive, but in my opinion it's absolutely worth the money because it is a quite beautiful experience. There are really beautiful light installations, and if you do a boat tour you will also get some explanations by a guide, usually, because some of these installations you cannot understand just by seeing them, but if you get explanations on what the artist meant by doing this artwork, you will understand a bit more about him and learn a bit more about the city as well. So it was a very nice boat tour. And there was also a quite familiar piece of art, because if you remember my ship tour around the MS Euribia, you might remember that there was exactly the same light installation in a bar. So that was also quite interesting to see this piece of art here in the Amsterdam Light Festival. And then it was unfortunately slowly time to head back to the main station. I was quite sad when we arrived back at the main station and the tour was over, because it was a very nice tour. And what was also quite nice was that on our boat all drinks were already included, so we enjoyed a few hot drinks during our cruise around the lights of Amsterdam. Then it was time to head back to our Jane Austen, and it was time for yet another fantastic dinner, which was well earned after a long day in Amsterdam. And in the evening we left the city, sailed back to the Amsterdam Rhine Canal and continued on to Utrecht, and from there we continued on the Lek Canal and the Lek River to Rotterdam, where we will be in the next video. Here you can see when this video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.